Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to explore how the top hits inside a set can really impact on the future price of the sealed product. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. And if you want to become a channel member, that would mean a lot. It's a pretty small price to join up and allows you constant access to shoot me emails asking any Pokemon investment advice. You just join from the homepage of my YouTube channel. So it's pretty easy. Anyway, on to the topic at hand. I suppose I've been doing a lot of videos lately around supply on Pokemon cards. I've been giving advice around, looking at TCG Player and looking at eBay and looking at heaps of other, even just Googling, big box retailers and looking at how the supply starts to dwindle. And when it's getting towards the end and the floor of the market is about to shift, it's a great time to buy. I've been doing a lot of videos about supply, but I suppose I haven't really done one in a little while about demand. And they're really the only two metrics that should, hypothetically, increase the price of a sealed product or a card. Supply or demand, of course. So if we're looking at sealed products and what actually drives demand of a sealed product, there's a few things that come into play, of course, like it could be short printed, but again, that's supply related. We're just looking at demand today. Like, forget about supply. Demand. The things that drive demand really are the hits inside the set. Why would someone want to buy a sealed product or open a sealed product if you can pull next to nothing out of it? Again, supply comes into play. It could be super old. It could have next to no sealed products left. But today, like I said, we're just looking at demand. And to give you the best example of how demand really can work as a metric for future sealed product price, I'm going to take you way back in time to EX era. Now, I use this era a lot because it's got some fantastic Pokemon card sets inside it. And I feel like it's almost that forgotten about era. Everyone talks about Wizards of the Coast. Everyone talks about Modern, but it's those sort of middle and older sets that seem to get somewhat forgotten about. So I want to compare two sets with you just to drive home a point here. So the first one being EX Deoxys. This card was one of the greatest Pokemon card sets ever made and bought us arguably the greatest Gold Star card ever made in Gold Star Rayquaza. It also had the Latios and Latias that are really, really hard cards to grade in a PSA 10 and demand huge prices. It had a slew of Deoxys cards. It had a Rayquaza EX. I think it had things like a Raikou EX. It had just a heap of good, solid chase cards, a heap of depth, and also one hell of a reverse foil pattern, if you can remember what that looks like. It's a cool set and should go down in history. And as a result, sealed booster box prices, or even just a sealed booster pack alone, go for astronomical prices. If we compare that to, say, a set like, and I'm not picking on it because it's still a good set and I love every set from this era, but if we compare it from a set to a set like EX Hidden Legends, where, what's the top chase card inside that? Maybe Ninetales EX. I think you had a Metagross EX inside there. That's a pretty nice card, but no Gold Stars. So no major, strong, super rare, super valuable PSA 10 chase cards, and not as much depth as a set like EX Deoxys. And as a result, I know this is an extreme measure because we're going like 20 years in the past, but you can see on a 20-year-old booster box that real discrepancy, or it really highlights how important the demand for particular cards and having strong chase cards in, top 1 chase card, a top 5 chase card, the total price of the top 20 chase cards, or how many chase cards are above $10 inside that set. It really highlights how important that is to future box price. Because if we look at EX Deoxys compared to an EX Hidden Legends booster box, you're probably talking 4 or 5 times the difference. Like an EX Deoxys booster box is probably going to be 3, 4, 5 times even the purchase price of an EX Hidden Legends booster box. So it gets exacerbated over time because obviously things are getting older, scarcer and rarer, and therefore it comes into play even more. So let's take that advice, so to speak, and compare it to some modern sets. I've coupled up again with TCG Scientist off Instagram. Here's his page if you want to jump on there and flick him a follow. I'm sure that'll be appreciated. He's put together some data for me, which is amazing of him. Takes him time, of course, and of course he'll probably display it on his Instagram as well, but we're going to go through them today. First up, I want to compare two modern holiday sets. I don't often look at modern holiday sets, and the reason for that is because typically I like to invest in booster boxes, and the advice I give is to invest in booster boxes, and the only way to get a booster box is to buy a main set. So typically I don't look at holiday sets. But just to start off with, I want to look at 2 holiday sets, and then I want to look at some main sets from Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. And let's look at the top chase cards, the depth of chase cards, and therefore what sort of direction it will have in the future as to what's going to be a better investment. So starting with 2 major Hollywood holiday sets, we've got 151 and Crown Zenith. And people have asked me lots of times, what's the better set? We know we can't get a booster box of them. So we're going to have to get things like collection boxes, in 151's case, an ultra premium collection. In both cases, the main product being the Elite Trainer box. They're the products we're going to have to buy in order to get a return on investment. Now, of course, we know Elite Trainer boxes take up more space. You're going to have higher shipping costs when it comes to shipping them. So there's pros and cons to investing in holiday sets, but we've also seen some fantastic performing holiday sets over the years. We've seen things like, of course, Generations, the 20th anniversary set. Shining Legends has performed incredible. Dragon Majesty from Sun and Moon has also performed incredibly as a small holiday set based on, of course, Dragon type Pokemon. So they can perform well, and Elite Trainer boxes can perform well. Of course, we have a greater supply now of Elite Trainer boxes, but let's just have a look at the 2. So Pokemon 151, the flavour of the month. Over $10, just to show you how this works, of course, I won't insult your intelligence, pretty straightforward, but over $10, we have 21 cards. That's pretty strong. Keep in mind, time in the market will also affect that a little bit. Like if we happen to get a big reprint come, just before, say, the US's winter time this year, which is typically when reprints tend to hit, it could see some of those singles drop in price, and therefore the amount of cards we have over $10 could drop in price. But currently we have 21 cards over $10. We have 9 cards over $20, and the top 5 chase cards add up to $232. Obviously strongly held up by that Charizard SIR. Compare that to Crown Zenith. Keep in mind we had 21 cards over $10. Crown Zenith has 16 cards over $10, 5 cards over $20, and oddly enough, the top 5 chase cards add up to $232 as well, which is the same as Pokemon 151. So what's the better set? What's the better set to invest in? They both hold some serious weight in the hobby. Crown Zenith is the last English set to have yellow borders. It has such depth of chase cards. Like it's such a nice Pokemon card set. Honestly, it's a beautiful Pokemon card set. And then compare that to Pokemon 151 or Scarlet and Violet 151, I should call it. It's just that nostalgia set in. It's brought so many people back into the hobby. It's the original 151. Charizard's a chase card. Blastoise is a chase card. Venusaur is a chase. Zapdos is a chase card. Like, what's going to perform better long term? I mean, I think you're almost splitting hairs. It's a hard one to call, but if we use that premise of, depth of chases plus top chase cards and compare it to that example I used at the start, like EX Deoxys versus EX Hidden Legends, it's going to be a pretty hard one to split at this stage. Like we're talking, let's say both of these boxes are all of a sudden 15 years old. Which one's going to be worth more if you can hold it for that long? A Crown Zenith Elite Trainer box or a Pokemon 151 Elite Trainer box? I think print run, and again, I'm telling you this video is not about supply, but that's going to come into play quite strongly probably, because Crown Zenith has been printed so far, from what it seems, a lot more than Pokemon 151. If Pokemon 151 cops a massive reprint, you could probably say fair's fair. So it's going to be splitting hairs, I think, down the track with those sets. Now let's jump into some main sets, because top 5 chase cards, top 10 chase cards, total amount of chase cards above $10, and the cost of the top 5 hits really, really plays an important role in booster box pricing. And this is where I want to suggest to do your investing, which is into booster boxes. So let's look at the big one, of course. Sword and Shield's Hollywood set, main set, one of the greatest Pokemon card sets to ever be created, Evolving Skies. Yes, pull rates are tough, but again, this video is not about it. It's just about the chase. So over $10, we have 33 cards in Evolving Skies over $10. We have 18 cards over $20, and the top 5 add up to $1,437. This set just speaks for itself, doesn't it? Down the track, we can already see that correlation between top 5 chase cards and the depth of chase, so total cards above $10. We can see that correlation straight away into booster box price. Why? Because there's demand for Pokemon. Why does it have strong chase cards? It has strong chase cards because they're popular Pokemon, they're tough to pull, It has depth of popular Pokemon. They're good looking artworks. That's what drives demand for the chase. Like, pretty much say no more, essentially. Next one I wanted to look at quickly was Fusion Strike. This set has really popped off recently. It's sold out on TCG Player. It is coming out of rotation. Well, it has just come out of rotation. So Fusion Strike, over $10. Oddly enough, we only have 10 cards. Over $20, we have 7 cards. But the top 5 actually add up to $549, which is stronger, and I'll get to it in a second, which is stronger than Lost Origin. Obviously, it's backed up or boosted up by that Gengar and that Espeon and the Mew, which are all beautiful sets. This is a great Pokemon card set. Ghost Psychic set. There's some underrated cards and, in my opinion, undervalued cards in this set, like Celebi V, the old art. That's a beautiful looking Pokemon card, and I think it's starting to get some of the love that it deserves. But this set, beautiful set. I bought in heavy to it at the start and just recently before supply really started to drop off, because I thought it was going to be a belter, and I think it's going to prove to be a belter. Top 5 chase cards, $549. Again, rewind the clock forward 10 years or 15 years. How's this set going to sit amongst sentiment for the community with demand? If supply is getting eroded, which it will, over time supply will just naturally dissipate. There's a good word for Pokeos, but it'll just naturally dissipate over time, and it comes down to the demand for the cards inside the set that's going to drive the price. And Fusion Strike is a beautiful set. Next one, like I said, I'd show you is Lost Origin. Over $10, we have 10 cards, and over $20, we actually only have 6 cards. Top 5 equal $429, and of course, it's bolstered by that beautiful Giratina V, which is the biggest chase card in this set, and probably the second most popular chase card behind the Umbreon VMAX from the whole Sword and Shield era. Now, if we keep moving on, Silver Tempest, over $10 is only 9 cards, over $20 is only 3 cards, and our top 5 equal $224, mainly, of course, held up by Lugia V Alt Art. So if we compare sets like Evo Skies, Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, and Silver Tempest, and maybe forgetting about Evo Skies because it's taken such an astronomical leap in price, but comparing Fusion, Lost Origin, and Silver Tempest, down the track in the future, what's going to be the better set? Well, you look at Silver Tempest and you'll go, really, there's 2 chase cards. There's the Lugia V Alt Art, and there's that Rayquaza VMAX from the Trainer Gallery, which is a great card, but there's not really a great deal else. So again, like I was saying, if we compare it 15 years down the track, everyone's going to go, well, you know what? Lost Origin blows Silver Tempest out of the water. And you know what? So does Fusion Strike. And of course, Evolving Skies does as well. Like, forgetting about pull rates. People are going to be wanting to chase those big hitting cards, the big PSA 10 values, the big raw values. That's where the money's going to go. And I just wanted to show you one last one, which is, of course, Paldea Evolved. Arguably the best set from Scarlet and Violet so far. There is 14 cards currently sitting over $10. There's 4 cards currently sitting over $20, and the top 5 add up to $227. It is gonna, I don't know, it depends on print run, of course. And again, this video is not about supply, so I need to keep getting that out of my mind. But really, with Modern, it's that supply-demand metric comes into play. I really need to keep down the path of demand here. That Magikarp is obviously a stunning card. It's very, very difficult to grade. I actually just did a video on that and how difficult that Magikarp is to grade. Down the track, though, I think, if we're looking at the top 5 value of these cards, it's pretty strong, particularly compared to the next main Scarlet and Violet set and the one that came before it, Scarlet and Violet Base and Obsidian Flames. It's just a no-brainer. If someone goes, oh, what should you invest in? Scarlet and Violet Base, Paldea Evolved, or Obsidian Flames? It's just simply not even a question. Paldea Evolved far outweighs those sets. It's proven by the amount of cards over $10, and it's proven by the top 5 total value chase cards. Like, it's not even an argument. You'd buy Paldea Evolved every day of the week. So I guess to summarize this video, because I feel like I've been talking on a bit of a tangent here for quite a while, when it comes to demand, the depth of chase cards and the total price of the top 5 is going to have a big impact long term. If you're in this for the short term, you're not really in it for investing. You're in it for the quick flip, aren't you? So if you're investing long term, I'm talking 5+ years, even 10 years or 15 years or even 20 years, setting up for this stunning collection in 20 years' time where you've got some rare vintage Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet booster boxes. It's weird thinking of them as vintage. But if you're setting up for long term, these equations around chase cards and popularity of chase cards and price of chase cards is going to be really, really important for you if you're thinking long term, which I always suggest you should. I'm Michael, this is Paldea Evolved, and I'll catch everyone next time.